Well, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Friday, October the 28th, 2022. Friday, October 8th, 2022. Well, we had some interesting and kind of at the end, some shocking things that might be going on here, but I'll get to that a little bit later. We have Connor is he and Connor and Johnny run into each other at Crimson Lights. Johnny gets there. Connor is still there with Adam, and Adam's out on the patio area on the phone. So when Connor sees him, he was a little nervous, a little apprehensive. He didn't know what to say. And so Johnny's like, "Hi, Connor." And Connor kind of comes over closer and he goes like, "Hi." And so Johnny is like, "So I hear you know that I'm your brother." And he goes, "Yeah, my mom told me." And he goes, and Connor's kind of looking down a bit. And so Johnny says, "Look, I was upset about it when I heard." And Connor's like, "Me too." you know. And so Johnny says, "I want you to know, Connor, none of this is your fault. None of this is your fault. I am not mad at you." And I thought, now how, excuse me, how mature was that of Johnny? I really like the way he handled that, And so Connor, that kind of made him feel a little better. And so then Johnny says, "But I think your mom is following me." And so Connor goes, "She's been acting weird lately, you know. And so then Adam's on the phone, and then he turns and he sees, uh-oh, Connor and Johnny are talking. Let me get off the phone and make sure that, the situation doesn't need to be handled. So he comes in and he goes, "Is everything okay here, guys?" And they're like, "Yeah, you know. And so Victoria pretty much walks in just right after Adam comes in. And she's looking like, "Oh, we got the two of them together." And so she's like, "Yeah, is that, hey guys, everything okay?" And they're like, "Yeah." And so then she's talking about, "Oh, Connor, what are you gonna go back to the ranch for Halloween?" He goes, "No, I'm not going to the ranch." He says, "I'm going to a Halloween sleepover." And so Victoria's like, "Oh, well, that should be fun." She goes, "Because look, your costume is nice. I'm telling you, Connor better be winning every costume contest because it's great, right?" And so Victoria's chit chat, "I'll tell you where your grandfather hides the little Halloween candyettes, in the house." And Connor and Johnny's like, "Well, I want to know that too," So um, Johnny turns around and says, "How did it go at the park with Chelsea?" And Connor kind of looks and Adam looks. And so Victoria says, "It went great. It went fine. We just talked about a few things and, everything is fine." Because, she has enough common sense and care not to say anything bad in front of Connor, period. Or really Johnny for that matter. She doesn't really want to influence Johnny, right? So she says, "Hey, boys, you know what? We're going to go out and we're going to the patio and we're going to talk for a few minutes." And they're like, "Cool." So they both sit down and she and Adam go out there talking. And Adam says, "So what really happened at the park?" And then Victoria says, "Oh, she has just, everything that she said she would do and promised us she would not do before we told Johnny, she has turned right back around and done it." First, her reasoning was this: she didn't want a relationship with him. She just wanted him to know so it wouldn't come out later and blindside him. Then, once we told him, oh, no, no, now she wants a relationship with him. And then when he wasn't having it, then she was ambushing him, which she was. She actually was. She heard him talking to Adam. No, not Adam. She heard him talking to Billy at Crimson Lights. She was on the patio and she beelined for him. And then she was actually looking for him on the other day. hoping that she would run into him. She said, no, no, yes, that is exactly what you're doing. Because you were swearing to everybody else when you did run into him at the park. You didn't know he was going to be there. Chelsea will lie through her teeth. The only thing that she's not lying about right now is she is completely in the throes of depression and she needs help. She needs some serious mental help, right? So while they're sitting and talking, Johnny is telling Connor that yeah, they're dragging him to Katie's school's Halloween parade, and he really didn't want to go, you know. And so he looked at Johnny and he goes, "Hey, maybe I can hang out with you tonight." And I mean, he looked at Connor, and Connor looked like, "Really? Like, you would want to hang out with me?" And he goes, "Well, I'm sure it would be okay with whatever the friend's name is, family." And so Johnny's like, "Cool." He goes, "Because there's going to be older kids there and you don't have to wear a costume. A lot of the older kids aren't going to wear one." And so by then, Victoria and Adam are walking back in and she goes, "What's going on here?" And so Connor says, "Johnny wants to come to the sleepover with me tonight. Is it okay?" And Victoria looked like, wait, what? you know? And so Adam's like, "Well, sure, I could text whoever the Hutchinsons, I made up that name, Hutchinson's parents are. I'm sure it'd be okay if it's okay with you." And Victoria's like, "Well, look, I mean, I've got a lot of questions." And Johnny's like, "Mom, it's a sleepover. Mom, just, say yes." And so Victoria says, "I would have to get information first." So then she goes, "Who's the family?" So Adam says, "It's the Hutchinsons." And that's not the name. I just can't remember the other name. "It's the Hutchinsons. They're over X, Y, and Z." She goes, "Oh, no, I know that family. They're a good family." And so she looks at John. He goes, "See, Mom, there you go." So she goes, "Okay, but then who's going to bring the boys home in the morning?" And so Adam says, "I could stop right back over in the morning. I'm picking up Connor. I could bring Johnny home, as well." And so Victoria said, so then Johnny goes, like, "Mom." And so she goes, "Okay, if you really want to go." And he goes, "Good decision, Mom. Good decision." That was so funny. So then the boys decide, Connor goes, "Let's go text whoever the boy is that's Connor's friends and let them know you're coming." So they go to the other side of the coffee house, and now Billy comes in. And he looks and sees Connor with Johnny. He's like, "Hmm." And so he's like, "Okay." He goes, "Seeing you two smiling at each other, talking about Victoria and Adam," he goes, "that's an uncomfortable, unlikely sight." And so Victoria says what they want to do. And so Billy says, "You know what? That's nice that the boys want to get to know, hang out." That's a nice, he was happy that that is transpiring, right? And so Victoria's like, "Yeah, and I said he could go." So they didn't, really stay too much on them, but that was the nice thing. And then we had scenes with Lily and Devon went to society and they run into Abby. And of course, Abby is brooding because Chance has to bail because the stakeout that was supposed to be canceled was on again. And of course, he had to go to work. And I thought, well, wait a minute, Abby. You guys were going to be missing each other for the next couple of days due to work, stakeout, and everything else. And then your restaurant's booked for a private party. But Abby will take anything to get bent out of shape over. So she goes walking away, and Lily is looking like, "What's that all about?" And Devon's like, "I think they're having problems. Abby's having a hard time dealing with Chance's work schedule and this, that, and the other." And Lily is like, "Well, that's what happens when you're married to a cop, right?" So Lily and Devon are talking, and she ends up telling him about Billy leaving. And Devon is like, "Right now? Well, we're in such, we're in transition with this whole IPO mess, and Nate's gone, and he couldn't wait till things settled down. So she goes, no, no, no. You know, he wasn't happy there. So I told him it was best, you know, he could go and he could, you know, follow whatever his heart is and this, that, and the other. And Billy and Devon is like, yeah, I get that, Lily, but why couldn't he put it off? And Lily didn't say he wanted to. Billy wanted to stay longer. She was the one insisting because really, I think her feelings are hurt, pushing him out the door. And so Devon says, you know, you're taking a whole lot on your plate by yourself at this time. Because she may have said, no, he said he would stay longer. But I said, no, no, I got this. And he goes, Lily, you're going to be taking on a whole lot. You know, I think he's needed, right? And so I'm surprised she didn't throw into his face, well, yeah, well, you don't have a CEO and you're going to still do it. Well, that would be irrelevant. Devon has been running and operating his company all on his own for years, okay? Years, since Neil died. Lily, on the other hand, has always had Billy. When they ran ChanceCom, it was her and Billy, co-CEOs. When she came over to Chancellor, Billy came with her reluctantly at first, right? She's never run a company all on her own. So, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of dropping of the ball, a lot of her burning the midnight oil, coming home exhausted. Billy, on the other hand, will have had nothing to do all day. When she gets home, he's going to probably be full of energy wanting her to do X, Y, and Z. And she's going to be, I'm tired. Look, I got to get up extra early to get to the office. And then it's going to come out of her mouth. Well, had you still been there, I wouldn't be this tired. See, that's what's going to happen. And then he'll say, no, I wanted to still be there, but you wouldn't let me, Lily. So, you know, I could see there's going to be some problems with that. There's going to definitely be some problems. And then we have, before Billy got to the coffee house, he had a good conversation with Chelsea in the park. And Chelsea told him what Victoria said, you know, about if you see Johnny on the street, walk the other way. And he's like, ooh, well, he goes, it's a little harsh. He says, but I understand where Victoria's coming from. Our son's well-being is first and foremost. So he did not contradict Victoria at all with Chelsea. He really did not. But he just says, I kind of wouldn't have worded it that way. You know, so he was a little bit softer, kinder Billy, because he's looking at Chelsea and he's listening to her. Because Chelsea right now is in this mental state to where she's pretty much mimicking the conversations. You know, she's like, yeah, no, I completely understand. No, let me get the tone right. I completely understand where Victoria is coming from. I saw firsthand how Johnny is reacting to just the mere sight of me. So I agree, she's right. Johnny comes first. Yeah. You know, it's just, and he's looking like, okay. And he's trying to say some encouraging words, kind of like with Phyllis. When Phyllis realized how down Chelsea was, Phyllis was kind of like, this isn't right. I'm not going to try to slice and dice or do real digs at her. For one, they don't have a real dig relationship. Phyllis and Chelsea's paths have really never crossed too much at all, ever. But Phyllis was even trying to be upliftive and give a compliment where she could. So anyway, Billy and Lily decide to go to Noah's nightclub to dance for Halloween. So they're at the club and Noah saved them a nice little seat. And Adam goes to Chelsea's room and there she is in her room. You know, it's kind of still dark. All the lights weren't off, but barely. It was still kind of dark in there. And she's just there. And Adam goes, Chelsea, um, I just wanted to let you know I dropped Connor off at the Halloween party, and Johnny went with him. Connor invited Johnny, ran into him at Crimson Light, and he went. And she's like, oh, I'm happy, that they seem to be able to try to build some kind of relationship. Mm-hmm. That's Thank you for telling me. And he's like, yeah, so listen, I'm going up to Noah's restaurant, nightclub. He goes, Chelsea, come have a drink with me. You need to come out of these four walls. Let's go up. Let's just have a drink, okay? It'll do you some good. Well, okay, just give me a minute to, you know what? I will meet you up there. I'm going to just get presentable. I'll meet you there. Okay, Chelsea, I'll see you up there. So then Adam comes up. He arrives after Billy and Lily. And of course, Billy looks at him. Billy's like, I always got to have daggers at Adam, right? And so then Chelsea comes walking in, kind of slow, but not dragging her feet, but not fast paced. And she sits down, and Billy is looking like, oh, well, that's the last person she needs to be spending the evening with. And Lily kind of looked at him like, you know what? You need to stay out of Chelsea's business, right? For one thing, Billy has never, ever cared how many times Chelsea and Adam have gone in and out of a relationship ever, nor has he voiced an opinion about it ever. So don't get one now, because if it's one thing, Adam is concerned about Chelsea. They do share a child together, and it does want the mother of his child to be okay, Billy, you know. So Adam is talking to her, and he's just trying to have conversation. But then they show, and so Lily and Billy go on the dance floor to dance, and Chelsea is looking at Adam, talking to her, but in her head, she's hearing all these other conversations. And before she got up there, she had a mini meltdown in the bathroom with all the things just coming into her head, things being said to her. And she just was yelling, like, get out of my head. And so she's looking at Adam, and she's kind of like, pretending to be listening, but all these conversations are just going through her head. And finally, she kind of looks at him, and she goes, you know, I need to use the bathroom. I'll be right back. And he's like, oh, okay. So Chelsea then goes to the side as if she were going to go to the bathroom. And of course, Billy's looking at her get up from Adam, walk over to where the bathroom area is. And she kind of looks back at Adam, and she looks back at the room, and then she heads for the roof. It shows her now up on the rooftop. And Adam and Billy could see it in her face that something is not right there, right? Lily's back is to whatever's going on there. So she doesn't know what's happening. She's having a ball. So Chelsea goes up to the rooftop, and she gets there, and she's just still, the conversations are there, and she's just like, I just want the pain to stop. She just wants everything to stop. She wants the pain to just go away. And I thought, wait a minute. She's up on the roof. Whoa, hey, right? So then she goes to the edge. And actually, that's not the one I want to show. I want to show this other one. She goes to the edge, and she puts her hands on the edge. And as I'm watching this, I'm like, excuse me. I don't think they're going to do that, right? you know, uh, and then she leans over the edge and she's looking at the traffic going by. And she kind of looks up and her eyes are all teary and kind of cry-eyed. And I thought, are they going to have her jump or attempt to jump? I think what's going to happen, because then they showed scenes from next week's All My Children, right? Billy is telling Lily on the dance floor, I'm worried about Chelsea. Did you see the way she looked when she left the room? And Lily stops dancing and she's looking up at him and she goes, no, I didn't see what Chelsea looked like when she left the room because I was busy looking at you and like enjoying what we have going on. I already know he's getting ready to leave Lily on the dance floor and he's going to go up to that roof. And Chelsea is probably just going to get ready to jump and Billy is going to save her. Billy's going to save Chelsea. They're not going to have her commit suicide because if they do, for one, I think I'm going to be a wreck. Even though I've been talking about Chelsea badly all week, you know, not all week, for ever since she's put this whole tell Johnny in motion, right? But I don't want to see her commit suicide because what that would do to those boys, oh my goodness, Johnny would feel so guilty. Little Connor would feel so guilty because he doesn't even want her to touch him. He doesn't even want to be around her. And even Victoria would feel guilty for the way she spoke to her. Billy, I think, will be the only one not. And Adam wouldn't feel guilty either. Billy and Adam would feel guilty that they didn't catch the signs more, that they didn't insist that something be done more, because you could clearly see she needs help, even though she's insisting to them that she's got things under, although she stopped saying I have things under control for a minute now. Seriously. So that would just be, and Chloe would just crumble, you know, because she hasn't seen Chelsea in a while. And I think they deliberately made sure, since this whole depression thing started, that Chloe has not run into Chelsea, because Chloe would know what to do. And Chloe would be deaf on Chelsea because she's seen Chelsea fall apart before. And look, Chloe has gone to those depths before herself. So Chloe understands mental illness well, you know. So I don't know. I'm a little nervous for Monday. You know, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to watch Monday with one eye closed. I'll be like, you know, I mean, oh goodness, that's making me nervous right now. Let's go to comment corner. Comment corner. Robin says, Phyllis is nitpicking first with Chelsea, but she wasn't nitpicking too much. Once she realized that Chelsea wasn't her usual snarky self, Phyllis kind of backed up a bit. Phyllis even kind of started talking about her own woes about giving, you know, selling her hotel. And then she said, and then next to Sally, but I hope Adam hires Sally before Kyle and Summer can stop it. Well, Kyle and Summer wouldn't stop it, because remember, Kyle and Summer wanted her to design their Marchetti line, to be the head designer. But Jack may not want Chelsea there. What would Chelsea do? You know, Chelsea could be their secretary. I mean, ever since Gloria hasn't been the secretary, Jack has not had a secretary out there at the front desk. But that would be beneath Chloe. She's a designer. She had ran her own fashion house. So really, there's nothing Chloe can do. Not Chloe, I'm sorry. There's nothing Chelsea can do at Jabot right now. There really isn't. The only thing Chelsea would be able to do something for is Marchetti. And she turned that down. And she is nowhere near ready to take on that fast pace and meet those kinds of deadlines at all. Chelsea's not in a good headspace. She needs to be committed so that she can really get her mind right with some professional help. So nobody needs to hire Chelsea. And then it says Chelsea and Billy need a podcast to wake Chelsea up. Podcast will not wake Chelsea up. The level Chelsea is at now, no one person can be used to heal that. She needs professional help because she will start hallucinating again where Billy is concerned. And no, they do. If it's one thing they don't need to do, is they don't need to work together. And then Robin says, like Johnny and Connor, seemingly civil throughout all this chaos. I was happy. I was really proud of Johnny because Connor was real apprehensive and scared. And, Johnny made him feel better. Thank you, Johnny. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I hope you're not your grandfather and mother's child. Get him there at the party and then bully him and then make fun of him in front of his friends. I'm thinking, please don't let them write that in there, But in truth, Johnny has never exhibited that type of behavior. Believe it or not, it was Connor, remember? Connor was the one that was going through some darkness and the one that couldn't stand Christian and locked him in the garage. And Connor was something else, right? So, what is this? Kikela says, Adam owns Newman Media. No, Adam used to be, Victor had given Newman Media to Adam. But then Victor decided, and Adam was so upset, to sell Newman Media back to Victoria to put it under the Newman Empire. So Newman Media is now up under Newman, and Adam just remained the CEO, but it was owned by Newman Enterprises. Let's see. And then Kakila, I hope I apologize if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, says Victor took Nikki off the pole. Yes, he did decades ago, right? And Anna Rihanna, she made a comment. She goes, oops, wrong soap. That's okay. Everybody knows I also do GH. But yeah, your comment was on General Hospital. LaShanta says, I really hate Chelsea so depressed. Billy is the only one who sees it. When she commits suicide, they will see it. Vicky is low down, no compassion for the woman that gave birth to Johnny. She wasn't following him. No, she was, but Victoria said that. Remember, Chelsea said, I wasn't following, him. Or, I wasn't stalking her. Chelsea goes, Victoria told her, I know you weren't. There's no way you could have known Johnny and I were going to go through the park at this time today. There's no way she could have known that. So Victoria acknowledged that. So she didn't think that Chelsea was following her this time, but let's not pretend, everybody, she has been. And she's been standing there watching him while he's in class. So yeah, that's Chelsea. Let's see. Why can't anybody see she needs help? Adam sees it too. And look, little Connor sees it. Anybody around her sees it. Lily, I'm not liking her right now. She used to be a good judge of character. Now she's snooty, but she's snooty now. I'm glad Phyllis let Sally have it. I don't see Lily as snooty. I see Lily as, for one, naive in business. She's new. For two, she's upset that Billy, this wasn't his desire, that he doesn't love it. You got to love your job. Well, how many COOs do you know that absolutely love their job, just love it, want to live and breathe it? You know what? Most don't. It's a job. But I think where Lily is coming from is it's a family business. This is his mother's company. But she's not looking at, Billy has never really ever thrived working for either of his parents' companies, ever. The only time he really would want Chancellor if he got a whiff that Jill was getting ready to give it to Kane. Because Kane Ashby loved that company. Kane loved it, lived and breathed it, and was phenomenal at it. You want to know who they should bring back to the show, which would add an interesting dynamic? Bring back Kane Ashby. Kane would be phenomenal. He and Lily have been divorced for years, but let's see the dynamics there. He would be an excellent COO for her. Billy would be so, oh my goodness, so jealous and intimidated because Kane, he's always been jealous of Kane because Jill feels Kane is one of her, she treats Kane like a son. Catherine treated Kane like he was a grandson. Everybody just loved Kane, even though Kane did some things, right? Man, now that would be some, I would be smiling like there is no tomorrow if they brought Kane Ashby back to the show. So anyway, everybody, that is it for Comment Corners. Thank you. Thank you so much for your comments. We will be back on Monday for the next edition of the YNR Daily Recap. I will see everybody then. Have a phenomenal weekend and please be safe.